Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Thursday, August the 27th, 2026. The stock market is just about 5 seconds away from opening for the day. I'm going to start simply, there's the opening bell. I'm going to start simply by telling you this. I have never been so glad to be so wrong. And that's I don't know what other wording I can use to start out today. I'm so glad that I was so wrong. And what I am referring to very specifically is NVIDIA. What an incredible report. NVIDIA, I believe, did everything everyone expected them to do, with one great big huge giant exception, and that is the stock is moving way up instead of way down. They came in with guidance numbers that were just out of this world, beyond, like, wildly beyond the expectations. So they're just absolutely rocking it today. They up right out of the gate, up 6.5, almost 7%, up close to $15 a share. And that is, quite honestly, the exact opposite of what NVIDIA has done in four of its last six quarterly earnings report, in spite of every single one of those having really good numbers. So, the story is that the big picture numbers for NVIDIA, no different than what it has been, repeatedly, quarter after quarter after quarter. They come in with these blockbuster numbers, but the difference this time is they are just, their guidance was, like I said, just out of this world, and just absolutely crushing it right out of the gate this morning. Um, like I said, up 14, 13, $14, 6.8, 6.9%. And if you look at a chart of NVIDIA, based on those numbers they reported, based on this initial reaction, and remember, this is the initial reaction. You could have the market is weird, and the market gives and the market takes away. You got to be cautious when you see a company do something like this, because NVIDIA, I mean, already they opened up here, they're back down here. Um, I imagine they're going to finish in positive territory. They could throughout the day kind of, build a head of steam and move higher and higher and higher. And by the end of the day, they could be trading down here. They could be trading down here. I mean, it's tricky because people still do weird things, and you could still have a situation with NVIDIA where they actually reverse and start going the other direction. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the numbers were simply too good for something like that to happen, and I think they're more likely to continue to build a head of steam. And it was a couple months ago. Is that 2.5 months? Let me actually look at that date. Around the middle part of May. So let's call it 3.5 months ago. They hit this high up here around 235 and some change. The exact number on that day, the high that day, 236, 236.54. Um, I'm in the camp of a number of people that think they ought to be moving to that level or higher, and they certainly could. But they could also, right here, 225, 226, they could test some support for a little bit, or some resistance for a little bit. That's where they went right to at the open, and then sort of backed off of it a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But off to a very, very good start this morning, and hopefully that continues. We've got, in addition to that, SanDisk having a good move up today, only 2.25%, but SanDisk, um, and it's getting, it's benefiting from the NVIDIA news. But 4 out of 6 days, 4 out of 8 days, 4 out of 5 days, whatever you want to call it, they came down. They sort of tested the RSI right here. They tested the 5 and 20, but they're adding this morning to a slight up day yesterday, and I think they'll reverse, and I think they'll be, right back up here to the $1,700 a share mark in relatively short order. So I like what SanDisk is doing this morning. And then the other big story as far as our trades go is CrowdStrike. They posted phenomenal numbers. They are having a monster day to the upside so far today. Same thing I said with NVIDIA. You got to watch it. You got to be careful. You don't assume that something couldn't reverse during the day. It's absolutely possible, but right now they're up about 14% or $26. It puts our trade that we set up, it puts the bull call side of that trade 100% in the money, and in the money by about $17. It's in the money right now. So today or tomorrow, there should be a relatively easy close on that trade for the target that we're looking for. The mid price on these are bouncing around a lot, but I show the mid price on CrowdStrike going, up to and above 250 on a $2.50 spread. You're never going to get filled for 250 or more. You're going to get filled for maybe 248, 249. But be smart about that. Take the profit and get out of the trade when you've got the profit there. Amazon down today, Google down today, JP Morgan down a little bit, but JP Morgan, they're flirting with break even or maybe even going into positive territory. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But we've got a little bit of time left in that trade, a couple of weeks. And I do think, I still think, I got asked a question yesterday on Discord or maybe the day before about Amazon. This is not a real common thing. Now, you do have a little stretch back here where Amazon traded in a range, but this range was about a 10 $10 range. Amazon right now has got a week and a half of trading in a range of literally just a few dollars. I believe it'll break out of that. I don't think Amazon is going to stay in that range very long. The trade we put on is for next week's expiration. It's actually good that Amazon is down a few bucks a share today. Hopefully, we kind of need to see it break below this 257 mark. So, I'm hoping that tomorrow's not an up day on them. I'd rather see them, come back down here and test this 250 range than not. But down a little bit today, and that's kind of a maybe slightly better for our trade that the put side is back in the money. But I think Amazon in another day or two will really, in a strong way break out of that range that it's in. And then we gave ourselves plenty of time on JP Morgan for the same thing to happen. So all in all, good stuff going on. The NVIDIA, if you're in the NVIDIA spread trade that we put on, we added a short-term bear put spread to that trade. We did a 210, 200 bear put spread. And that is very, very upside down right now. There's no question about that. That's very upside down. I'll send out shortly after I finish this presentation. I will send out an adjustment to that trade. We're going to take that September 4th 200 strike short put, and we're going to roll it straight up. We'll try and be somewhat conservative here, but roll it straight up above the 210 to a 212.50. That should pick us up about $1.29 credit to do that, $1.25 credit somewhere in there. And if we do that, that will help offset the loss, and then we could continue to move that bull put spread up a little bit if the stock continues to trade up. So look for an adjustment on that. It's actually the mid on is actually 130. 132, 133 right now. I'll maybe try and get $1.30 because it's jumping around between like to low 120s and low 130s. So we'll maybe try and get $1.30 out of it. And that will help. That will help our trade considerably. So I'll send something out for that shortly. And like I said, otherwise everything looking pretty good today. I like where things are moving. We'll be able to get out of the shorter term NVIDIA trade in short order. We should be able to get out of CrowdStrike today or tomorrow morning, and Amazon dropping off a little bit farther, and that's a good thing for our trade. So I would say with Amazon, where our expiration is September 4th, if your trade trends into the green, if you trend into profitable territory, I Yeah, I mentioned that I believe Amazon will break out of this tight range, but we've only got a week from tomorrow, and I am a little bit fearful that we get stuck for a longer duration of time in this range. So if the trade turns profitable, even if it's only by a percent or two, this is one that maybe we just, take what the market gives us, take no loss as a win and just simply exit out and get out of that trade. I think that would be the right way to approach the Amazon position. So if you get to break even or profitable, maybe just take it and get out. But I show my trade down about 2% right now, 2.6%. So I'd like to see Amazon fall a little bit more and see that move to profitable territory. And if it does, I may just bail out. So that's where we're at on a Wednesday, or excuse me, Thursday morning. We'll see how things play out today. And NVIDIA now up over 7%, up almost $15, and CrowdStrike continuing to move up over 15% now, up almost $30 a share to the upside right now. So we'll hope for those to continue to move up. And I'll leave it right there and wish you all a good day and see you back here tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.